Tonight we have a great guest, Chicago native, who has been absolutely just shining with his releases the last several years. Self-produced, an engineer in his own right, has all the tangible skills in the music industry to pretty much craft and make the records that he wants to make. That sounds quite amazing, including his latest Morrow Up, which just dropped a new video and single on the streaming platforms. It is a pleasure to introduce Austen Nobles to Weekend at Gabes.
Yeah.
So
Couple
sorry,
days later. No, that's straight. That's how it be. That's how it be. How are you guys, man?
good. Listen, I was trying to cue you in so that you knew, but it's all right.
No, I was like, oh shit. I was like, no, that's what's up.
I mean, we've had people where we're like kind of they're just like really surprised, like, oh hey, I'm here. Like I didn't know, but like, hey, listen, we try to give you at least a good 5-second cue before.
For sure. No, I know. Thank you so much, man. Thank you guys for having me. For real. Appreciate it.
It's an honor to have you here, man. I was just saying to Gabe before we got on, I really respect people, creatives who are out there putting their hands on their own stuff. Oh, dang. Am I getting... All right. My bad. I was saying, artists and creatives who put their hands on their own stuff. You produce your own stuff. You mix your own stuff. I mean, until recently, I think you were shooting a lot of your own music videos too. Like at least
back in the day, like 2018, I want to say.
Yeah. So talk about sort of your philosophy, man. Like
for sure. Man. All right, my philosophy. So I don't know. I feel my goal has been shifting throughout the years, but now I'm just at a point where I want to inspire, and knowing how to inspire is really key right now, because it seems like coming out of quarantine, COVID, all that, people are definitely looking to focus. So I feel like it's really important to hone in on things that through quarantine maybe you realize you are interested in, and then like hone in on it and see where it takes you. So that's kind of like my whole thing, because it's like for me, I always like knew I was gonna do music, I guess, at a young age, because I was just interested in it. Like grew up pretty blessed with parents who had like racks full of CDs, and they would just play it every like weekend morning, Saturday, Sunday morning, stuff like that. So yeah, man. And then just taking that into my teenage years with FL Studio producing. I went to Tribeca Flashpoint in order to get my associates in recording art, so that showed me how to mix and stuff. And yeah, just like never being complacent with my skill set, I guess, is like the thing that kind of drives me, because I just want to keep becoming better. I guess my goal outside of inspiring people is to kind of just be like a one-man army musically, because I feel like with the internet and with the possibilities, people always want to go to that one person, like that one producer, that one engineer, that one mastering thing. And as much as that is something that I highly respect, highly also recommend, depending on what you're going for, I do believe there is a nice niche and like quality in like going to one person for a whole like sound. And I think sound is something that's opening up as well, with all these hyper niche micro genres through like Spotify playlists, TikTok, all this other stuff going on. And it's like hyper pop, it's like the next thing now. And you're like, bro, this was like back then, but now it's great. So it's just like staying up to date while also implementing your own skills in order to like create the up to date, like, build the wave.
Hyper niche micro genres, my man. I want to put that on a t-shirt or like a bumper sticker.
Shit, like for real. SoundCloud honestly still has the ear to the like underground, in my opinion.
Oh yeah, for sure. I know Gabe wants to get into the schooling a little bit.
Oh yeah. Let's talk about it.
Yeah, sounds good. I don't know if I'm glitching or if everyone else is, but
you are the only one who's glitching, my friend. I'm sorry. It's on you tonight, bud.
That way.
I don't know what's going on. Anyways, so excuse me if there's a delay in my question. So with we mentioned that you so you went into an art of recording art. You have a degree in that from Tribeca, and then also then spent some time as an engineer over at Private Stock.
Yes, sir.
How does that allow you to, like I was mentioning at the top, that gives you all the tools and the skills to craft a record from beginning to end? Like you're kind of mentioning, like sort of being that full service artist, right? Where you have all the skills. Like, well, how does that like give you that advantage to making records that you want to hear and not something that someone is like giving you a beat and then you kind of have to like adapt to it?
Okay, great question. Really great question. I guess for me, it's about figuring out like the core like fundamentals of a song, right? So I guess in my opinion, the core fundamentals of a song is like the instrumental, we'll call it, the songwriting or like the lyrics. I kind of blend personally recording and mixing into the same, even though they're two completely different stages. That's just how I am though. Because I kind of like do it as I'm doing it. Like I kind of record and mix as I'm recording for like my specific sound, but I feel like for other sounds they may or may not work. But yeah, fundamentals. So instrumental, lyrics, recording, I guess, mixing, mastering if you choose to do that, you know, and then I guess at that point, promotion and then doing shows is like the whole like 7 things, like the 7 steps, right?
Yeah.
7 deadly sins or something.
Exactly, type deal. If you want the anime vibe, let's go. But yeah, it's just I feel it's important to know each step, and the advantage of going to school to know each step is that someone could give me something at any step in the process, and I can see the full picture. If that makes sense, like I see the end product that people want when they work with me, or what I'm going for if I want to make a certain type of song or my songs in general. Like I feel when I'm creating the beat, I already hear the song in my head, obviously, because I'm nodding. And then I'm just freestyling for the most part until I freestyle something so consistently that it becomes part of like the writing now. So now I write it down, you know what I mean? So it's like everything is in like micro steps, but there are the 7 steps, you know what I mean? Right. So I guess that's really to answer your question. Yeah, just knowing whether someone gives you, hey, I want you to write on this, or like, hey, can you produce this, or like, hey, can you mix this? Just having the confidence to be like, yeah, I can look at it and like, let's see what we can do. You know what I mean? Like a collaborative effort through and through.
So I guess on this new video that's out right now, within the frame of that last question in these 7 steps, talk about the process of creating Morrow Up.
For sure. So during quarantine, I definitely had to step back from music. There's just so much going on. I mentally wasn't focused. I mentally wasn't there. I wasn't, I knew my heart was still in music, but I couldn't find a way to like creatively get an outlet or anything. Like I didn't even want to produce anything. And that kind of took me into gaming. So with like streaming and whatnot, because gaming blew up over quarantine. So how that kind of connects is that I always thought I like kind of had video game music, but then I wanted to kind of make something that is video game soundish at the same time could be like on the radio, depending on like what you want. Because I like look at playlists now on Spotify, like the gaming lounge and stuff like that. And I'm like, oh, I feel like my music kind of fits in there. So with Mara Up, the whole thing was like, I felt like I needed to level up for myself. I needed to like get my money right. I need to actually plan things out and focus. Really, even though the whole world is going, you know, crazy, I personally need to focus. And that was the hardest thing to do, man. So when I could finally get back in touch with like the music, and it was like things in my life were moving to where I could keep making music and stuff. It was all about taking myself to the next level at this point, and also like ending that chapter, pre-COVID, and everything. So I just wanted to put that to bed and like allow myself to become a new version of myself, and that's like pretty much the whole point of the whole song. It's really more me versus me, like me and my 2 mindsets, or me and my 2 looks, when I had dreads and whatnot. So that's also part of the process.
Yeah, so, I was gonna say you cut your dreads off mid video, right? Yeah, that's definitely crazy, man. That's commitment.
No, yeah, man. I just wanted to capture how I was feeling during that whole, I guess, time period. And I felt it seems that everyone had their own like Mara Up. Everyone, that's obviously still here, thankfully, and whatnot. And in general, just like aware of what's going on really has to Mara Up at one point. And it's all about like it's Japanese for Maga Karo Up, which is sincerity of heart. So like being true to your heart allows you to level up your life. Is the essence of like the whole, I guess, word or scripture of it. And I just wanted to make it on some like rock rap type vibe. So that's just me. But yeah.
Absolutely.
Well, we've had quite a number of artists pass through the show recently who.
Oh, there he goes again. There he goes, glitching again.
It'd be like that. It's all good.
He'll come back. But basically, what made you had KO involved in the videography?
Yes, KO did that. Shout out him. He was behind photography and part of the videography. The other part of the videography was by my homie Justin. He goes by QB Nimbus.
I didn't want
Yeah.
to take a stab at pronouncing that.
Yeah, QB Nimbus and whatnot. He's another hyper, I guess, creative. He does like a whole bunch of stuff from claymation to shooting. So that's kind of like his thing. And I always love working with people that kind of do more than one thing creatively because it allows for more options. Even though it's like at the time right now, resources are limited per se, but the options and how you want to make those resources like available or like use them is kind of there. So yeah, with that, and then I had the good man Jake on that, Jake Ranch and whatnot, and he snapped on it on the editing tip. So yeah, man, I don't know. I'm very thankful that everything came together the way it did. I'm very thankful that everybody was, into the idea of it and everything. And I'm very grateful for just the overall experience. And now I know I can take that and make something more out of that. The whole point of the song, kind of. So yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Gabe, you want to try and get your question in one more time? We'll see if it goes through. He's still having problems. All right, we're just gonna keep it rolling.
It's all good, man.
Yeah, no, and talk about some of that trust though, because when you're working by yourself, you are that one-stop shop, right? But it takes an amount of trust to bring in KO, to bring in QB Nimbus. So talk about that sort of leap of faith, I guess.
Okay, yeah, no, for sure. In terms of those guys and whatnot, I've known them for a good amount of time, I guess, over the last, I want to say, 2017, 18. So like 2017, 18 range. I met Justin though in Tribeca. So I've known him for over 5 years at least. So yeah, I've known them for a while in my personal life, and we've always kept in touch and we've always stayed creative. So it was a no-brainer to me when I looked at like homies that would like want to work on something, like who would come up to mind for this specific thing. Because like Justin personally is like always down to like do something creative, and KO is super hyper consistent on his quality of work, which is amazing to see him grow just individually as like a photographer, videographer, and everything he is becoming. So yeah, it was pretty much a no-brainer, I would say, in terms of execution, for sure.
Word. All right, Gabe. It looks like we got you back.
You in there, Gabe?
Rough night.
All good, man. It's still Tuesday. It's all good.
So back to my question was like, there it's highlighted as alternative rap, right?
Mm-hmm.
But but it doesn't, when I was thinking like, when you think of like that merge of rock and hip hop, you immediately think of like Walk This Way or fucking Limp Bizkit,
right?
And like, but what the sounds that you guys are making, I'm gonna say you guys because there's quite a few artists that have passed through that are making sort of this alternative sound of fusion between hip hop and punk and rock and all these different elements about that. Well, how do you feel like that is transcending the culture to be open to listening to, just simple like 808 drums or boom bap beats as like trying to expand the horizon of listeners? How do you feel like you guys are pushing those boundaries?
I feel like, once again, great question. I feel like those boundaries are being pushed in terms of like culture. And what I mean by culture is like more so fashion and how music influences fashion, right? Because it's like there was a point in time, I want to say like 2017, 18, when everybody was rocking band tees, but these are rappers. And that's kind of like where it starts. And then you have all the rager rappers, and then you have other rappers that are alternative or more of the like indie lane, and it's all kind of merging in together. And I think that comes from, it seems the essence of both like rock and rap is to be in a form of rebellious, but depending on how you want to take that, you know what I mean? You could be like all the way rebellious and like super like off the wall, or you could be like super like, oh yeah, no, I'm rebellious, but I'm still like posh, or I want to be like a certain like etiquette about it. And now that's all open. So that's why the whole music scene, based on how you dress, how you talk, everything that makes you as an artist is all like, oh, we all kind of like the same things. And everything also marketing wise seems to be pushing in that direction too. So it's like it's like, what do they do in The Lion King when it's like that? And with the, it's like that. I forgot. Like obviously Lion King at minutes, so that's on me. But Simba, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
I love Simba. They're like the king. Like that's
Right.
basically what the new alt rock rap is, because it's like the mixture of these last 40 years all in these new millennial and Gen Z kids.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think a fashion crossover there a little bit is the dog collar, my guy, and
For sure.
steering this whole thing in a different direction. I know you work with dogs.
Yes, sir.
You know, week to week. Who's harder to collaborate with, dogs or rappers?
Wow.
Hey, that's fire, man. Well,
Be careful how you
yeah,
respond.
I don't know. Every dog has its day, right? And
Every
then
dog has
every
its day.
rapper has their era and whatnot. It seems so. I guess it really depends on like where I'm at, but I would say for the most part, it's definitely easier to work with dogs. I love working with dogs personally because they're always present, so they help me stay present, and that shows in other forms of my life outside of work, which I feel like is super key personally moving into the rest of this decade, because staying present is like, yeah, that's like number one right now, because that's how you stay aware of opportunities coming your way. That's how you evade danger. Like presence is very key to me at this point in my life. And working with dogs is ultimately how you stay present. Not to say you can't be present with rappers, obviously, if you like collaborating with them. I just find in terms of having the same goal or the way you want to work to that goal is slightly different than like having a dog to sit, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. No, shout out Trap House Chicago. They like to pass the swisher around to stay present. You know, so to each their own. To each their own.
Yeah, most definitely. However you express it.
You know, I was reading this this Lyrical Lemonade write up of your Sir Noble mixtape album that came out a couple years back, and they were like, "Yo, we remember when Austen was doing our ciphers, and and that is like the quintessential like element of hip hop, right? But like also you're showing this growth as an artist. Do you think that I don't want you to speak for other artists, but you yourself seem to be evolving as an artist and stretching your talents and your abilities. And do you think that's going to probably be like the reasoning why your career would take off when so many of your peers probably won't get beyond SoundCloud fame? I don't know if that's that's not a diss, but I'm just saying.
He just doesn't know how to put it into words. He's old.
It seems like what you're. I just want to like throw that back at you just so I make sure I answer this right. It seems like what you're saying is that like by knowing, once again, I guess the 7 steps are like the core elements of that genre of like how everything originally worked. I'm able to it seems like you're assuming that I will be able to propel myself to different levels. Not necessarily have to say that like it would be off, but like just different levels in terms of where I want to go or where artists like that want to go that do that, right? That's the question.
No, because anyone can have skill sets, right?
Right.
And you could be really good at what you do, but you just keep doing the same thing that you've been doing. My point is that you've evolving past just being the quintessential rapper that can jump in a cipher. It's kind of like what you might think of like a Mos Def, who started off as like this b-boy golden boy and then evolved into this eclectic artist who makes these weird records, these abstract records, and just became like a fucking a symbol, So, but it's like I'm kind of comparing you to that draw of saying like you started off in this place, but now you're 10 years into your career and you're making these unique sounds that no one else is doing. And do you think that's going to be what helps propel your career?
Yes, because I feel it's all about how things age, and I believe my music is aging really well personally.
I agree.
So thank you. So I think that's the whole thing, because it's all about how your music ages, because that's the thing with like being a rapper is that like rappers have eras or they like have a legacy, right? So it's kind of like there's 2 types of models. You have the artists who get known for one thing and do that thing consistently their whole career, kind of like I guess a Snoop Dogg in some ways, or Wiz Khalifa, stuff like that. Like they're that brand and they like do that their whole thing, and it's like they still doing that. You feel me? At the same time, it's like what to expect. And then you have other artists, kind of like I guess still at this point, Drake, Childish Gambino,
Correct.
You know, Frank Ocean, stuff like that, where it's like they still keep that core thing that made you a fan when you became a fan of whatever album, or even Tyler the Creator, even better. And
Yeah.
marketing wise, style wise, aesthetic wise in general, they keep evolving. And I definitely want to be in that bracket personally. So yeah, I think that will be the thing. As long as I keep trying to do something new while keeping true to myself, I don't feel like I can lose.
Yeah, and I just and my point of mentioning and bringing that up is because too far often I think that young artists, they get trapped into what they think a hip hop artist should be, and you yourself, and then we also had Lassie Grandeur on last week,
For
and who
sure.
also just like you pushing boundaries and giving us so many different different sounds that I think that either people aren't prepared for or are ready to make that leap. And I'm just like tipping my hat to you for having that courage to stretch the boundaries of what we think of when we think of hip hop or think of urban music or black music in general. It's like it's not one thing; it could be a lot of different things that you may enjoy, but you haven't really enjoyed, haven't found yourself liking. Because I don't know about Sam, but I don't really find myself around people liking rock music, but it's like when it's introduced in a way that you're familiar with the sound or some substance, it's easier to digest and easier to allow yourself to open up that door of trying it. And too far often, I think not only in our music and our politics, we get in our bubbles and that's all we do. Like we listen to something we're comfortable with and we don't allow ourselves to try something new. That's something I hear too often. So I'm glad you guys are pushing boundaries and trying to at least force people to listen.
Gratitude.
Try something different.
Gratitude. For sure, man. Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with that. I guess for me personally, Guitar Hero is huge because that's the whole thing that kind of really opened me up to rock music. Because my dad played rock music, but I'm growing up in school, like obviously rap, like duh. And then you have Guitar Hero, right? You have Guitar Hero, which is like, okay, you can have a rapper be a rocker, or you could have a rocker or whatever, and they have all these rock songs, and you're playing the video game, so you're learning the hand-eye coordination, you're learning the song, it's all one experience, and you're like, whoa. Like for me, the first song that like really stuck with me, I think it's off Guitar Hero 3, like When You Were Young by the Killers. Like that was my first favorite band.
That
album is fire. Sam's Town, I think, right? What is it?
Oh yeah. Sam's Town for sure, with the light blue cover.
Fire, Hot Fuss, fire. Like,
oh yes.
And that just opens up so much to where, I want to take a little bit of this and now add some 808s.
Right.
You know what I mean? And that's where everything's going, because people have these like pop punk early 2000 songs that are coming back not only in fashion, but just the song itself. And people are being inspired by that and doing similar things. So yeah, I think everything always comes back, or it's always in a loop. It's just always like slightly different or a different shade of that color.
Yeah,
I definitely feel it. It's secular in general.
It all comes back around.
So the new video and single out there, Morrow Up, is out there. We talked about it. Is this a tease for an upcoming album project?
I was just about to get to that.
What are we doing this summer?
Oh man, this summer definitely focusing still on singles. I do have a project in the works, but right now it's focused on singles and just figuring out how to execute even better and market even better until it's time. You know what I mean? I want to have everything. I want to have all ends meet, I guess.
Yeah. Can we expect to see Morrow Up live at any point soon? Are you looking to get back into live music at any point soon?
Oh yeah, dude, I'm dying to do a show. I'm dying to do a show, bro. Like, that was such a big thing for me in 2019, and that's like really how, like you said, LaSalle Grandeur and like Kale, like we all were in, even Sam, like we were all we all were kind of in this like thing together. We were doing shows, throwing shows, having each other perform at shows, and I'm pretty sure we're all ready to get back to doing that and then some. Now that, you know, we probably have more resources or more knowledge on how to go about it. So yeah, I'm really excited to do my first show. Somebody just let me know, like I'll pull up, like whatever. It's a rage either way.
All right, so this next question, we're going to talk about this a little bit later on in the show. There's a return to festivals. I'm not sure if you were a big festival goer before the pandemic, but the question is really twofold. Are you returning to festivals, A, as a concert goer, so you're in the crowd, B, as a performer?
Oh, I would go as a performer. I wasn't really too much of a festival guy. I was always more of a show guy and
Word.
like basement bars, stuff like that, like smaller. And I always respected festivals because it let me know like what's possible and like where some of my favorite artists are at and where they're going. So where I'm at now personally, I want to definitely perform at festivals. And I personally feel I'm ready. I really do. I
Yeah,
really do.
for sure. For sure. And then as a concert goer, do you feel safe in the crowd in general, or are
Yeah,
you
as a concert goer, I feel safe in the crowd. It's always about being aware, be safe, obviously, but like be aware. Awareness is key. I
word.
feel like awareness
Right.
avoids a lot of conflict if you're aware. So I don't know. Yeah, I would as a concert goer definitely not stressing about it. Everyone's
Word.
ready, it seems.
Yep. Yep. Absolutely.
We're gonna have a bit of a conversation. We're not experts on this, but we're gonna talk a little bit about some of the upcoming fests that are already lined up, including Ride Fest and
Mhm.
Summer Smash from Lyrical Lemonade. They have a great lineup, a 3-day lineup, which I want to go, but I'm having trouble finding people to go with because they're other reluctancy to be in large crowds still. So I'm hoping that the attitude changes by July and August, and I think once people start to get outdoor more and the more acceptable, the attitude may
Yeah,
change. But I think right now there's still a little bit of shyness about leaping back into that world, which is justified. However, I think we're starting to turn a corner, which is good news.
Yeah. Definitely.
agreed.
So I'm hoping that we'll see you, Austen Nobles, on some stage
Wait,
somewhere.
hold on. Before we let you go,
Okay.
Austin, I want to do a quick rapid fire. Are you ready? These are all just 50-50s. I want you to go off top. We
So
did
let's
not
do it.
we did not practice this beforehand. Uzi
All
or
right.
Cardi?
You said what?
Uzi or Cardi?
I'm gonna give it to Cardi right now for me.
Word. Batman or the Joker?
Batman because of Batman Beyond.
Word. Dog or wolf?
I'm a wolf.
Twitch versus YouTube.
Oh, I'm gonna give it a Twitch off of the nerds.
Word. Word. Tequila versus Hennessy.
Hennessy.
Hennessy. Ultimate Super Smash Brothers Ultimate, Super Smash Brothers Melee.
Oh, I'm a Melee kid, so I'm sorry. That's the old head in me.
And then the last one, N64, GameCube, or Switch. It's a 3-prong.
Oh, I'm gonna give it a GameCube.
Word.
Can I throw one in there?
Yeah, go ahead.
Apple, Spotify, or Tidal?
I think Apple has the best branding, but Spotify runs that.
Ooh.
Tidal also has the best sound, so they all like it depends on what you're looking for as a consumer. They're all equal depending on what you're looking for as a consumer.
That's a very political answer. You didn't piss off Jay-Z with that response at all. You know what I mean?
I'm here.
I'm social friends with Elliot Wilson and B Dot, and I told him I was going to try Tidal, and I did, but I still got my Apple subscription. So I hope they don't ever find out to get mad at me.
No, yeah, they be trying to give you the like 3 months free or 3 months for $9. Like, yeah,
I did.
All right, I'll try it out.
And that's how I got the Carter's album before everyone else. I was like, "Yo, I'm on top of it."
Yeah, honestly, Tidal is pretty raw for how they do their exclusives. I'm not gonna lie.
Yep.
I do peep game, and I'm like, okay. But Spotify, I feel like it's just like running the market personally. So
everything's running through Spotify.
yeah.
But all right, well, Austin, thank you for joining us here on Weekend at Gabes. We appreciate you dropping in. We'll keep
Thank
an
you
eye out
guys
for
for having me, man.
No, thank you for giving us your time on this Tuesday night. We'll definitely look for new singles, your tour schedule, or whatever you're going to perform this summer. We'll definitely keep an eye out. We'll definitely try to get a show out if we can. So keep us posted. We'd love to learn.
Will do. Gratitude for sure.
All right, Austen Nobles join us here on Weekend at Games. Enjoy the rest of your evening.
For sure. Outie.
Peace.
All right, Austen Noble joining us. That was a man. I really enjoy him. I love young artists who are challenging the way that we listen to music and are giving us something that maybe not we haven't heard before or tried before, but in a different way that the experience is different than what I've felt before. And and I love that. And that's something that only I won't say that only young artists do, but it feels like young artists are the ones who are the most fearless because it's like they have nothing to lose. So like I'm gonna give you everything that I love about what I do, and if you love it, great. If you don't, I don't care, because this is what moves me. And then it's like as artists become more popular and the stakes are a little bit higher, like oh you gotta follow up this hit with another hit, or your album isn't as good as the last album, and then that pressure starts to grow from the consumers. But it's usually like the young artists who come into the game are the ones that change everything, and then everyone starts to like lean towards whatever the fad is, and then they want to. I mean, we've seen it like drill and trap. It's like once those things pop off, everyone was making those kind of records because there's much lap riders to be PG-13 about that.
No, shout out to Austen Nobles, an incredible guy with incredible energy, and I think he coined a few phrases that I think everybody should write down out there. He said hyper niche micro genres, and everybody should get that tattooed on them. I thought the way that he broke down sort of the 7 steps of creating music was really informational. If you're a young artist out there, definitely get up with Austen Nobles and all the team over there. Once they start doing shows, I got to be honest, that was like one of the more fun things that I did before the pandemic hit was go out. Seemed like every night there was a different show featuring Austen Nobles, featuring Lassa, featuring Nabuda, One Take Ace. All these people we got to get on the show eventually. So once live music comes back, definitely go check them out.
Oh, absolutely.